here. Scott, Norman, maybe you'd like to join us. We're talking about the investigation. What I'd like to do is start from the oldest part of the castle and work our way to the newer parts. We'll put our sensors in all of the older parts of the castle, which is in this area, and then we'll take baseline readings from there.
When I was 12 years old, my older sister was killed in an automobile accident, and about 4 months after her death, after having a series of recurring nightmares about her death, I woke up one night and saw her standing in my room, an apparition of my sister. She was perfectly solid, and when I tried to touch her, she disappeared. And I determined from that moment on that I was going to learn all I could about these experiences.
Interesting distortions in the field.
Unusual magnetic fields seem to be able to retain memory traces in a house or other location. Sometimes powerfully emotionally charged events can be imprinted in these energy fields, and later on a person whose brain is suitably sensitive to it, a person we would call a psychic, can pick up on these memory traces. So the brain acts as kind of a VCR, and the haunted house is like a recorded videotape. The brain can decode those impulses and play them back in the form of a visual image or sound, what we would call a ghost. But not everyone has the right frequency to be able to decode these images.
Okay, I'm just going to monitor your physiology as we do this, your brain waves and the electrical activity in your skin. And I'd like for you to just do what you normally do.
Okay.
And any impressions that you get, just feel free to talk about them. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to sit right over here and watch what's happening inside your brain while you do that.
Okay. It seems that the girl was a girl that was untainted by, she was quite a pure girl when she came to work in this house, okay? And she was in the room upstairs someplace, and she fell in love with another, with a gentleman. And she fell completely in love with him too, completely. He was married, you see, but she thought she could be part of his life. But it wasn't to be, because he loved another. I don't know if that was his wife, I've no idea. They just said that he loved another. The girl was so distraught, because she was to be put out by the family too. They were going to actually look after the girl, but then they changed their mind.
In the electromagnetic fields, although it's such a complex structure in the geologic structure of the building and all of the iron ornaments that are present that would cause distortions. What do you think about ghosts? Do you believe in them?
I'm not sure. Not too sure. Not too sure about it at all, really, because these photographs are all very well, but I haven't encountered anything. I mean, you feel spooky sometimes, but that's
in my opinion, it's impossible for science to prove the existence of life after death at this time. I do think it's important for us to keep studying the evidence so that hopefully, eventually, we will be able to solve the ultimate mystery of mankind.
There ways, what I do is like a detective trying to solve a crime. I want to find, like a detective, the motivation for the event. Every haunted house has its own mysteries. I'm getting something really strong right in this area. Are there any witnesses who've seen phantoms, apparitions right on this place? So after I determine it is a real phenomenon, I want to find out who it is, identify the ghost, and lastly, why they are there.
This particular girl, which is the daughter of the woman who ran the inn for 70 years.
Well, what exactly happened?
Well, the catering manager was standing here and our maintenance manager was walking down the hall, and this small little girl who looked like Nancy was holding his hand, and she looked exactly like Nancy with the large bow in the hair and the blonde features and the dress.
That's an interesting story, and the fact that the person who witnessed this hadn't seen this photograph?
No, she had not seen the photograph before, ever. I'm the only one who had the archival photographs.
I've learned many things from my years of investigation. First, I'm not crazy. If I am, millions of other people are too. We're going to be talking about... It's very hard to determine what is real and what isn't in this kind of work. But the true story is, real ghosts are not like the ones on television or in the movies. And when people try to fool me, they usually use a movie as a model. Do you call yourself a medium?
I call myself a parapsychological investigator. The reason being, I am a person who is, I'm not a psychic, I'm a person who is in touch with his own psychic gifts.
Seance, they think of gypsies and...
Right, well, I've had that happen, but I like to call it a communication circle. I am a medium, I mean, I can communicate with the other side, but I feel that I am introducing people to their spirit guides rather than someone who talks to them.
I think, though, that much of this ghostly phenomenon is related to time. So it could be that many ghosts are, in fact, rips or tears or holes in the curtain of time. So when you look and you see people in historical costumes, they're not wandering phantoms. You're simply looking back into time itself. One of the most haunted places in the Ojai Valley is the old cemetery. This particular grave site, 1917. And a number of phenomena have been reported there. But the one that's recurrent concerns the grave of a little girl who died tragically at a young age. Where we started today. This is our start place.
What I've heard so far.
Location?
It's hard to judge exactly how strong it is from what I've done.
Her apparition, humming sounds, music, a number of odd phenomena are linked to her gravesite, amongst others.
Can you ask him if it's about his daughter?
Yes.
I think the energy is coming from Thomas, and I specifically think it may be about his daughter. Can you ask if it's about his daughter?
I think you have to have an open mind to let the material you discover lead you in directions. And the more I do this, the more I'm led towards a belief in a post-death existence.
I want to really prove the existence of ghosts through my research and investigation, and to prove that there is a spirit, there is a soul that survives and sometimes can become detached from the body. Einstein said it very eloquently that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. In proving the existence of ghosts, I hope to prove beyond reasonable doubt that there is a life after death. I believe a ghost is a disembodied spirit of a once living person. There are three main classifications. The poltergeist, which is often caused by a living person and not related to a ghost at all. Poltergeist is a German word for noisy ghost. The residual haunting, very often there is no intelligence associated with that ghost, like a videotape playing itself back over and over again. The last ghost classification is the apparitional haunting, and that is actually something that may have some intelligence associated with it. And that is where there may be some actual communication between the person and the ghost. Can you tell me what's been going on here in the past in your own words?
I was on the phone when it happened, and it didn't dawn on me that something had walked by. And I was doing dishes, and the dish rag disappeared.
Have you heard any sounds or anything?
Yeah, we hear every once in a while, we hear voices. Usually it sounds like men talking, but you can never make out what they're saying.
Jim says the camera's okay, it's gotta be the monitor.
Try switching the RF modulator off and on.
The camera on me right now?
There you go, that's good. Got some hit. We got a couple of hits on that Geiger counter earlier. In 1991, myself and other members of Ghost Research Society were in the cemetery doing an actual investigation. One of our members had a 35mm camera loaded with high-speed black and white infrared film. When the film was developed, there was a very disturbing image on there. The photograph clearly shows a woman in a turn-of-the-century style dress with long brown hair staring off in the distance in profile. There was nobody in our group dressed in that manner. Nobody was sitting on the tombstone at that time when that photograph was taken. Bachelor's Grove Cemetery is perhaps the most haunted location I've ever actually investigated in my 25 years of work so far.
have all the people for tonight?
Yes, and as a matter of fact, we have one of the ladies that's going to be there tonight, and she's going to be in my office in a few minutes, and she feels that she's really receptive to these experiences.
Well,
she's had them in the past.
I'm kind of curious what will happen.
So am I.
Yeah.
So are you going to call the rest of the people?
I will.
Okay, great. I'm going to go meet with the lady. I'll see you in a little bit.
See you later.
Okay, I would like for you to tell me about one of the more recent experiences you've had. Something that's been very meaningful or that you felt was rather intense.
Okay. About 10 or 12 years ago,
I've always been interested in the paranormal since I've been young. I didn't start really becoming interested in it as far as a scientific point of view till I became in college.
I'm not really sure because I thought I was really in shock about the whole.
If there is something really paranormal in the world, if there are these phenomena that exist, that's important to know. But even if there aren't, then these phenomena, the study of these phenomena, tell us something very important about how human imagination, cognition, and personality work.
First time that I had seen a ghost. I had seen a ghost before in my life, but never like this. Never right there, clear as day, in color. There's no doubting that that was something, but I would say the whole thing took 2.5, 3 seconds.
You have a seat right here. Just put the clipboard on your lap. You have a seat right here. Okay. Just put the clipboard on your lap. Right here. Put the clipboard on your lap. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Edwards Place. My name is James Horan, but please call me Jim. I'd like to introduce Dr. Renzo Lange. He's my research partner. We are faculty at the SIU School of Medicine, Department of Psychiatry. And again, you are not been chosen because you are crazy. You have been chosen because you are open-minded individuals who we can trust.
For myself, coming from the background of abnormal psychology and psychiatry, it tells me about people's ways of creating belief systems, finding evidence for those beliefs, what we call delusional thinking or magical thinking. And so for me, it's a way to understand the broad range of human experience on a more fantastic scale.
See something? Did you hope to find something? Did you hope to notice something? Whatever, right? Did you come with the hope of seeing something that looks paranormal?
I smelt like a burnt smell in, I think, rooms 5 and 4.
I kept going back up the stairs, and right at the top of the stairs, I just felt like somebody was standing there.
Room 4, which was my first room, I felt really lightheaded, and it just kind of took me aback for a second.
Okay, thank you everybody for coming, and for those that are interested, Dean will take you around to show you the areas that maybe you didn't get to visit. So thanks again, and good night. So did you find, looking at the questionnaires, that the experiences last night acted like delusions?
Yeah, they did. What happened is that you find that only people who have paranormal beliefs have paranormal experiences, never the other way around.
We're not ghost researchers, we're not ghostbusters. We're not in this for money. We don't try to be sensationalistic with it. We're in it because the study of paranormal experiences can be valuable, theoretically and clinically. We try to study these experiences from a scientific point of view and then try to apply that to general psychological theories. So we're not out to try to find life after death or evidence for the paranormal. We just want to understand people better.
Und wacht 10 Minuten vor 3 auf
Und ich wach auf mit einem Drücken hier, wie wenn jemand so macht. Ich mache die Augen auf und da sehe ich vor meinem Bett irgendwas Weißes, aber nicht definierbar. Dann im gleichen Augenblick, wo ich also diese Gestalt gewahr werde, kriege ich in meine rechte Wade einen Krampf rein. Musste raus aus dem Bett und musste auf meinen Fuß stehen. Und im gleichen Augenblick, wo ich auf dem Fuß stehe, muss ich einen Schritt nach vorne machen, laufe durch die Person durch. Und dann fing an, sich Worte in meinem Kopf zu bilden. Das heißt, diese Eva Maria erklärte mir, wer sie eigentlich ist. Das war für mich, also ich sage Ihnen, gucken Sie mal, da gehen mir die Haare wieder senkrecht hoch, wenn ich nur dran denke.
Das, was Sie jetzt gesagt haben, ist wirklich sozusagen der zentrale Kern. Und wenn Sie das verstanden haben, dann müssen Sie aber jetzt daraus auch so eine Art Konsequenz. Also die Menschen, die hier zur Beratung kommen, die haben ja alle etwas erlebt, was sie selber nicht verstehen. Und das Wichtigste ist, was wir jeden Tag erleben, wir können auch mit Dingen umgehen, die wir nicht verstehen. Und ich versuche zuallererst den Leuten zu erklären, wie sie damit umgehen. Und ob man dann auch noch eine Erklärung abgeben kann, ist nicht so wichtig.
Hier ein typisches Beispiel aus unserem Archiv aus den 50er Jahren. Das repräsentiert aber einen ganzen Topos in diesem Gebiet der paranormalen Fotografie, eine Erscheinung auf einer Grabstätte, die angeblich die Verstorbene darstellt.
Ja, und jetzt ist die Frage, wie kann man herausfinden, ob das jetzt eine Projektion ist, also im Sinne der Gestaltwahrnehmung in der Psychologie, oder tatsächlich die Verstorbene. Die Frage ist nicht so sehr, ob es die Dinge gibt oder nicht gibt. Also das ist keine einfache Frage. Es ist viel wichtiger, wie gehen wir mit Dingen um? Was können wir tun? Ich benutze häufig die Vorstellung, die die Leute haben, was das ist. Und wenn die dann sagen, das ist ein Geist, dann sage ich ihnen, wie man mit einem Geist umgehen muss. Und wenn sie sagen, das ist ein Naturphänomen, dann sage ich ihnen, wie man mit diesem Naturphänomen umgehen muss.
Geschickt werden von Leuten, die wissen wollen, was da eigentlich dahinter steckt, hinter solchen anomalen Fotografien.
Naja, also in dem Fall kann man natürlich gleich sehen, was es ist. Das ist in dem Fall wirklich ein fotografischer Effekt. Aber insgesamt ist die Sache wirklich komplizierter. Man muss sich jetzt ein Universe of Discourse, ja, dann können wir sagen, gibt es zwei große Teile. Das eine ist sozusagen das Mentale und das andere ist das Physikalische. Und das Mentale, das Physikalische wird sozusagen abgebildet im Mentalen, aber das ist nicht so eindeutig, sondern das ist eigentlich so, das ist die Frage, wie verläuft hier diese Trennungslinie. Also man kann sich das so vorstellen, dass diese Linie nicht ganz eindeutig ist. Und eigentlich ist ein ganzer Bereich.
We know one fact right up front. People always say, oh, if I could only have been right beside you, I would have seen how that's done. Not necessarily. They think that the closer they are, the more they're going to see. But sometimes, as you'll see from what I'm going to do next, the further you are back from the actual action, the better you are able to solve how the thing is done. I think I'm probably the greatest enemy that the paranormalists have, because I'm the one who is out there in front of the public speaking all the time against what they say is real and I say is trickery. They fear me, of course. I don't fear them because I have truth on my side. I'm not making any claim. I don't say they're not psychic. I simply say to them, prove to me you are psychic. And if you do, I'll pay you $1 million too. A 1, 2, which I am not. It's a little hard to tell now, isn't it? No. Now they know where it is, right? Right, of course they do. No, actually, that's cool.
Okay, pull out your hand. Okay.
4.
The person is looking. They are cheating. Okay. They're either looking through below. If it's a blindfold like this, they look through here. Or in the case of tape on their eyes, the tape is not properly applied, and they can look through a portion here. And what they'll do is they'll move their head to where they can see. I can see you right now with this eye.
People often ask me, what was the most interesting case you had in examining the paranormal? I'm afraid I don't have any good stories. They're all very dull. These people do simple tricks from children's books. If someone were to come to me and show me something that really made me surprised, that really got my attention because it was exceedingly clever, that would be a relief for me. It would give me something to work on. As it is, they all do exactly the same old tricks.
During the warm-up period, when she couldn't see, she honestly said, I can't see. So that's why she's upset, because she's not used to any trickery at all. И чем меньше он участвует в процессе, тем это лучше.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or good afternoon, or good morning, whatever the case may be. This is the James Randi Show, brought to you on the internet each and every week on Thursday evenings. I don't believe in the paranormal simply because I don't have any evidence for it. I have much evidence against it. I don't say, however, that it doesn't exist. I don't say that there is not a Barbie doll on the moon. There may be. I don't think so, so I don't believe there is a Barbie doll on the moon until someone gives me very good evidence.
Ég segi ykkur söguna af honum Ennismúraðinn. Ennismúri, það svona ættardraugurinn okkar. Þegar að Múri kom fyrst á bæinn, þá gerðist nú dálítið hræðilegt. Draugurinn breytti sér í flugu og hann flaug flaug hann baðstofuna og heimasætan á bænum. Hún var einmitt að taka sér grautarskið og ætlaði að fara að stinga henni upp í sig. Þá sest draugurinn í skeiðina, í flugulíkinu.
Þegar ég var barn þá voru mér sagðar margar sögur af draugum og galdramönnum og allskyns yfirnáttúrulegum hlutum sem að ég trúði gjarnan og hafði gaman af þó að ég verði nú oft ansi hræddur því ég fór að sofa.
Þetta var alveg ægilegt.
Pappa vildi segja aðrar draugasögur.
En ég svolítið hræddur það að börnin í dag þau eru of vernduð fyrir þessum sögum og allt eigi vel miklu fallegra og ég svolítið smeykur að við séum að missa svolítið af okkar gömlu menningu fyrir vikið.
Blessaður, já, blessaður.
En ég frétti af því að það hefði verið draugur hérna einhvern tímann. Og við höfum Móra.
Já, Móri hérna, það tókst að ná á hann mynd hérna sem við höfum ekki séð hvorki fyrir síðar, svo ég veit.
Einhvern fjáran þessi draugur að gera hérna í fjörinu? Hann ekkert hérna frá Munanesi?
Nei, hann ekkert hér. Hann fylgir þessum manni sem í bátnum.
Og hann fylgir þá þessari fjölskyldu og búinn að gera það núna í 5 ættliði.
Hann múinn að gera það í 5 ættliði. Hann á að fylgja þeim í 9 ættliði, sko. En það hann tölur þetta því að þá.
Og hann hefur ekki sést, ekki síðar á Munanesi eftir þessu myndatekinn, svo vitið til?
Nei, ekki sést, hann hefur komið hingað eftir það.
Hann hefur komið hingað?
Já, það er talað nokkuð öruggt, hann hefur komið undan fólkinu frá Felli þegar hann kom hingað heim svo. Já, ég gangi í bæinn.
Segðu mér þá Guðmundur, heldur þú að draugurinn Móri hafi raunverulega til eða sé jafnvel ennþá til?
Já, ég vil trúa því. En það vissar að gera það líka, því að hann hafa hótað mönnum því ef við tryðum ekki á sig að þá myndi að gera þeim glennu. Svo ég held að sé allir værin góður.
Já, það er þá vissar að trúa á tilvistans. En draugar almennt, heldur að þeir séu til og séu alla trissur jafnvel eins og margir vilja halda fram?
Þeir var nú kannski fækkað eitthvað, en ég hef trú á því að séu til, já. Já, ég hef enga ástæðu til að rengja það.
Nei, ég er raunverulega ekki heldur. Í gamla daga trúði fólk því að draugar væru allstaðar og voru verulega hrædd við drauga. Stundum þurfti að fá til þess menn með sérkunnáttu til þess að ráða þá niðurlögum með særingum og góli og það var ekki alltaf auðvelt verk og galdramaðurinn sem var að reyna að kveða niður drauginn, hann var oft í mikilli hættu en hann hafði þessi sterku orð til þess að kveða niður.
Magnús, nú erum við komnir í kirkjugarð norður á Ströndum og núna ætlar þú að segja mér frá því hvernig eigi að vekja upp hinn dauða. Það er eitthvað aðferði til þess.
Fyrsta skrefið var að finna sér leiði og helst einhvern aumingja sem var auðvelt að ráða við þegar hann kom upp úr jörðinni. En síðan þurfti umbúnað, það þurfti flókinn galdrastaf sem þurfti að skera í eikarpunkt og mála í staðinn blóði. Annars vegar stóru tamni á hægra fæti.
Það er eðlilegasti hlutur í heimi á Íslandi að trúa á drauga og reynda þá höfum við hérna 2 tegundir af draugum. Við höfum þessar draugar sem ákveða að ganga aftur af sínum eigin hvötum og svo höfum við draugar sem eingöngu galdramenn geta vakið upp. Og þeir draugar, þeir lifa í 9 ættliði. Það er góð varúðarráðstöfun ef þú tekur puttaling upp í bílinn á ferðinni Ísland og þú vilt vera algjörlega vissum að hann er af þessum heimi, að spyrja hann fjölda spurninga hann sest upp í bílinn. Ef hann svarar spurningunum algjörlega út í hött, þá er það merki að þar er draugur á ferð. Þá þarftu að taka fram krossinn og fara með vendabænir hástöfum yfir honum. Yfirleitt hverfur þá draugurinn í reyk eða biður þig að hleypa sér út úr bílnum.
Velkomin í draugaferðir, gott fólk. Við ætlum að kíkja á slóðir nokkurra drauga hérna í Árnessýslu í dag. Ég veit vissu ekki hvort þeir eru allir heima því að draugar eru viðförlir og við höfum heimildi fyrir því þegar Íslendingar fluttu til Vesturheims fyrir mannsaldri síðan þá fóru draugarnir gjarnan með þeim vestur haf og reyndu að setjast að eins og Íslendingarnir á stéttum indjánanna
Harðu! Harðu! Nú norður og niður! Finnist þér hvergi fríður! Hver þinn leggur og líður, limist bálið víður, grenji hvala klíður. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.
Já, ég trúi á drauga sjálfur. Ég hef aldrei séð draug, en ég vil gjarnan halda að þeir séu til. Ég held að myrkrið væri ekki jafn skemmtilegt ef að ég vissi ekki á draugum í grenndinni.
Des revenants sont en fait des morts prématurés. Et comme ces revenants sont des êtres en 3 dimensions de chair et d'os avec des sentiments et une force physique considérable, eh bien ils vont causer des grands ravages. Pour se débarrasser de ces revenants, on mutilait le cadavre. On lui coupait la tête, on plaçait la tête à ses pieds. Ou bien on l'inhumait à plat ventre, c'est-à-dire la face contre terre, ce qui fait qu'il dévorait la terre et non pas des vivants. On le ligotait, on l'ensevelissait sous une herse, pointe en bas, ou bien sous des pierres. Une autre façon était d'égarer le mort pour empêcher son retour. Quand il avait quitté la maison, au lieu de le porter directement au cimetière, on lui faisait faire tout un circuit pour éviter qu'il retrouve le chemin. Ou alors on semait sur la route des graines de pavot, et il ne pouvait revenir chez lui hanter ses proches que lorsqu'il aurait ramassé toutes les graines.
Cette petite croix représente le corps du marin disparu, qui sera donc enterré pour éviter que son âme n'erre indéfiniment.
C'est très intéressant parce que une âme va soit en enfer, soit au ciel, soit au purgatoire. Et le purgatoire a justement accueilli l'essentiel des âmes, des personnes qui n'étaient ni trop bonnes ni trop mauvaises, et qui ainsi trouvaient un asile pour un certain temps et n'importunaient plus les vivants. En dépouillant les textes du Moyen-Âge, j'ai rassemblé un corpus de plusieurs centaines de témoignages où il était question de fantômes et surtout de revenants. On n'ose plus y croire, il faudrait dire. Et s'ils ont disparu, c'est parce qu'on n'ose pas en parler. Mais en fait, quand vous regardez bien et si vous gagnez la confiance de vos témoins, vous verrez, ils n'ont toujours pas disparu. Nous allons parler des rapports entre la magie et les revenants, puisque vous savez très bien que l'on peut obliger des morts à sortir de leur tombe pour agir.
So whereabout did you see the figure, Phil?
We were halfway down the corridor. It was walking towards the lecture theatre, went through the cupboard, through the door, and vanished.
Let's go down and see it. Was it tall, short, male, female?
It just knew he was just walking, and he just seemed to go 5 or 6 seconds, and through that cupboard and through the door.
and straight into the door, as we are now. This lecture is entitled Dead or Alive, a visual representation of ghosts. For most people, ghosts are the stuff of popular TV serials and blockbuster movies. What I want to do is to look at images of ghosts. There's a great deal of research being done by scientists, psychologists, parapsychologists into the nature of ghosts as a mental phenomenon as well as an objective phenomenon. But very little work has been done in terms of why we see ghosts in the way that we do, and how the appearance of ghosts changes from one age to another. But capable of sensitizing the photographic plate. In the 20th century, death is a taboo. In the 19th century, in the Victorian age, sex was a taboo. And the illicit image of sex was pornography. In one sense, psychic images are the pornography of the supernatural for our own day.
Ce qui m'intéresse dans le travail sur les fantômes, c'est en fait une passion intellectuelle. Je n'ai pas une grande passion du cœur pour les superstitions, ni le monde paranormal, je n'y connais rien, ça ne m'intéresse pas du tout. Je suis tout à fait dans une recherche scientifique, non pas à chercher le fantôme dans sa réalité, mais à interroger le fantôme dans notre culture. Le fantôme a toute une histoire, mais il est lié toujours à un phénomène de disparition et de réapparition. Le fantôme est inquiétant parce qu'il est celui qui a déjà été là. Ce n'est pas un inconnu, le fantôme. Le fantôme, il a vécu un jour. C'est quelqu'un qui a existé parmi nous. Et les fantômes, ils reviennent dans les milieux qu'ils ont connus. Ils reviennent hanter les lieux qu'ils ont connus. Et il revient comme ça, subrepticement, à l'improviste, pour visiter les survivants. Dans l'Antiquité, on ne parle peut-être pas tout à fait du fantôme comme on l'entend aujourd'hui. Le fantôme, ce sont les ombres. C'est Orphée qui va chercher Eurydice dans les enfers. Les ombres, c'est aussi ce qui nous accompagne durant toute notre vie. Ah oui. Le couvercle, la boîte, le nom, les reliques.
Absolument.
toute la décoration en papier. Dans notre société, on ne parle plus beaucoup de fantômes. Ou alors il y a des superstitieux qui croient aux fantômes et il y a le paranormal, le surnormal qui se développe. Et ça a une réalité, c'est vrai. Les artistes aujourd'hui aiment beaucoup inscrire dans la représentation elle-même certains traits de cet acte photographique qui nous dit une présence à l'image, mais en même temps une disparition. Le fantôme est cette image, ce corps informe et surtout sans matière, immatériel, qui nous regarde. La mort s'est introduite dans la photographie et l'image photographique est un fantôme qui nous saute à la figure.
Okay, Chris. The first thing I want you to do is to... I became interested in the representation of ghosts through photography in my research into the area, where I discovered that there were many examples of spirit photographs, and all of them were undoubtedly faked. But the way they were produced was beautiful in itself. The way they looked was particularly attractive. And I thought it'd be interesting to take my own images and actually manipulate them to look like them. One of the influences on my work is 19th century spirit photography. Photographers discovered at an early time that they could produce images of ghosts on the plate, on the glass plate, simply by using double exposure, a very simple technique. So they were able to produce hundreds and hundreds of images of spirits appearing from beyond the grave. One of the delights about making the kind of work I do is provoking a reaction from the public by representing things which people recognise are not real through a photograph. Creates a kind of disorientation very often. One woman once asked me if I was involved in a witchcraft society, which I'm not, but ghosts aren't what they once were, and art has to have a role as a provocative agent.